In this ActiveCampaign beginner tutorial, you are going to learn everything needed to successfully use ActiveCampaign. So to get started, head over to the link down below. This will actually grant you with a free trial, and just put in your email address right here. Then click on get started, and now you will have to go through the onboarding process of ActiveCampaign. In my case, I'm just going to put in my name as well as a random phone number, and then you will have to personalize your experience by answering these questions. Now really it doesn't matter too much what you're going to tick here either way, and then put in your password, and now you're going to be redirected to the ActiveCampaign dashboard. Once you are on the dashboard, this is how it's going to look like. On the left, you're going to have an overview of all of the different features inside ActiveCampaign, and then on the bottom right, you can actually instantly get help with the ActiveCampaign chatbot. So if you ever need to set up anything customly, then you can just use this chatbot right here to get some help. Either way, before we are going to dive into all of the features, we are firstly going to click on settings right here on the bottom left, because we will have to set up some basics before we can actually send out emails. So right here, head over to advanced, and then we will actually want to add our own custom domain onto this. So in my case, this would be elias@krausetutorials.com. Now we do want to do this because otherwise all of our emails are going to be sent out from the default email that we have used to sign up, which obviously in most cases isn't professional at all. You don't want to send out emails with a Gmail domain or with an Outlook domain. As you can see, now I do have my email verified, and I do have the domain krausetutorials.com available, which I can then use to later on send out professionally looking emails. So if you actually do want to use ActiveCampaign to also set up stuff like landing pages, you will have to also head over to domains right here and add your domain onto ActiveCampaign. You can do so by just using this CNAME doc right here. It is going to be pretty self-explanatory. For now, just head over to your ActiveCampaign dashboard, and now we can actually get started importing and managing our contacts. So to do that, head over to contacts right here on the left, and now you can first of all basically let ActiveCampaign migrate everything from you if you've already used other email marketing providers in the past. However, most of the time you don't actually have to do this, because you can rather just click on import right here on the top right, and you can then import all of your contacts using a CSV file, which basically is the industry norm for all of the different kind of email marketing providers. So I'm just going to click on import from file right here, and then I'm going to quickly upload an example file which I've prepared for this video. So as you can see, now the next step would be to actually map our information inside this CSV file. So basically, right here on the left, we are going to have the different kind of data columns, and then we will have to align this with the correct ActiveCampaign field names. So basically, each contact has different kind of informations, and each of these informations are called fields. Now, as for the email column, this obviously would be email address. Last name is last name, first name is first name. Most of the time, they do actually do a pretty good job with this. However, as for SMS right here, they don't actually import this field by default, so we would then have to select phone right here to actually import our SMS contact information if we do want to do this. Now, as for added time, we could then actually also select subscribe date right here. Usually I don't actually care about this information, but either way, I'm just going to select it right here. And one thing which I also want to mention is that you can actually also add custom fields right here. So if you, for example, capture the birthday of each of your customers to then later on send out a special birthday offer, you could just click on add a new field right here to then set up that custom field. In this case, as this would be a birthday, we would have to then select date right here. So let's actually quickly do this. We are going to name this birthday. And then we are going to click on save, and now the modified time is going to be aligned to the birthday information field, which obviously doesn't really make sense as the modified time isn't actually the birthday, but I think you'll get the point. Either way, you can just capture information using these fields right here, and then you will have to select a list that you want to import these contacts to. Now, in this case, I'm just going to select the master contact list. However, obviously, if you're going to import hundreds of contacts, this is going to be super unorganized. And this is why we are going to add tags onto our contacts. These tags will basically allow you to identify your contacts. So for example, you could just add something like how you're going to obtain their information, whether they are a customer or also their interest. So if, for example, these tags that I'm going to import right now are going to be interested in e-commerce, I would just then add a tag called e-commerce. And I would probably also add a second tab, which would be, I don't know, import, okay? And then we do have 2 tags for all of the contacts. Then we can also set up the general import settings of this, so we can update existing contacts while importing, and we can also trigger webhooks and so on. And generally, I would actually recommend you to just leave this as the default, and then you will have to click on import right here on the bottom right. Once the import is completed, click on manage contacts, and now you're going to see an overview of all of the different contacts inside ActiveCampaign. So as you can see, we now do have the example contacts Bruce Wayne as well as Elon Musk, and we could then actually go ahead and add them to a deal, add them to a desk, add them to a note, which we're going to cover later on. We're also going to dive into the CRM features, however, we're going to do that later on. For now, we're actually done setting up our contacts. We're now actually going to head to website right here, which is going to allow us to basically create our own custom forms and pages to automatically get subscribers onto our lists. So let's actually get started with creating our form. So just click on create a new form right here and then give this form a name. In this case, I'm just going to basically put in test 1, 2, 3, and then we will have to select a form style. So for example, inline form works great on blog posts. Floating bar would just be like kind of an announcement bar on top of all of your website. Floating box would be on the bottom right, kind of like a slide in animation, and modal would be like a pop-up, for example. So I'm just going to select modal right now, and then we will have to select the website URL so that we actually have something where this can actually be added later on. So I'm just going to put in Krause tutorials right here, and then we will have to select the action that this form actually does. So in this case, we can subscribe this to the master contact list, and then we could then also add a new action, which would be add a tag, and this tag could be modal pop-up. And like this, we can then later on see who from our subscriber list actually signed up through this modal form right here. So I'm just going to click create right here. And now this is going to redirect us to the editor for the pop-up form. Now the editor is going to look something like this. Right here you do have your general preview, and then on the right you do have your settings for this. So first of all, we can change the layout. As you can see, you are going to have quite a lot of options. I will just stick with this default one. Then we can change the background color. I'm just going to leave this at white, as well as the font color. We can change the font. So let's, for example, change this to, I don't know, let's actually just stick with the default, okay? And then we can actually also change the inputs, change the background of the button, and so on. Under options, we can then actually change the settings of this form on how it is going to be displayed. So for example, as for the initial effect, we could actually select fade in right here. We can actually select the show delay. So if we actually select scroll right here, we can say that, okay, after 20% of our website got revealed, this pop-up is actually going to show up. As for visibility, we can select that hide after interaction would be 14 days, so that no one is actually going to be spammed and so that no one is going to see this pop-up every time they're going to visit our page. Okay, as for fields, we can then select name. So for example, we can say that this should be required or this can actually not be required. Either way, you can then actually also select phone if you want to, and so on. Now on submit, you can then actually show a thank you message, or you can actually also directly redirect them to a page. So if you, for example, do have a lead magnet set up where you're going to say, okay, if you're going to sign up to my email list, you're going to get this and that free training in return, then you could directly just redirect that person to the training. Either way, as for the form action, we already have set this up. So actually, as for the settings right here, we are done. Now, if you want to customize the actual elements right here, this is pretty straightforward. If you, for example, do want to change your image, just upload your image and you have your image updated. You can also change the text of this right here. And now you will actually also always have to select each of these elements, and you will then have to go to the right to change the text and to change everything, which isn't really nice, but I think you'll get the point. You will just have to put in whatever you want right here. Okay, once you are ready, just click on integrate on the top right, and now you will have to integrate your form onto your website. You can do this by using this embed form. So if you do have your website launched on Shopify and so on, then you can just copy this onto your site. Or if you do have your website launched on WordPress, you would just have to download the WordPress plugin to actually just show this. Okay, so I'm just going to click on save and exit now, and we're now going to get started creating our first email campaign. So click on campaigns right here. We will have to select a name for this. I will just name this, I don't know, test 123, or I'm just going to name this newsletter 4. And then we will have to select a campaign type. So with ActiveCampaign, you're basically going to get tons of different features. And now as for this video, I'm going to use standard right here. However, you can actually also select split testing to compare multiple emails. You can also create automated custom sequences, which we're going to do later on, and so on. For now, just select standard and then click on next. This is going to allow us to actually put in a subject line. So actually one thing that I really like with ActiveCampaign is that we can actually import our fields onto the subject line. So we could, for example, import the first name. Just click on save right here, and then we could put in hey and then first name. So this is going to say hey Elon, hey Bruce, hey John, I don't know, and this is basically going to have a custom feeling to all of the emails, which will then actually also improve the overall click-through rate of the emails. Now, generally, as for the subject line and as for the pre-header, basically you want to structure these so that this is basically going to incentivize the person that is going to receive this email to click on the email. So we could put in something like, hey, have you heard about our special offer? And then as for the pre-header, we could then say, we run a special giveaway on the so make sure to click on the email. I don't know, I'm just making things up on the go, but either way, one common misconception with the pre-header would be that this has to be something which actually is in your email, and this isn't the case at all. You can actually put in whatever you want right here. This doesn't actually have to be anything from your email. Then we will have to select the from name. I'm just going to say, I don't know, Elias, and then I'm going to say Krause Tutorials. And then we will actually have to change the from email to elias@krausetutorials.com. Obviously, this once again should just be your professional email. And now we can get started creating an email with the email designer. Now, basically, ActiveCampaign is going to offer you tons of different templates, which you can use for all sorts of different use cases. So for example, if you want to re-engage with an old subscriber or old customer, you can use this. If you want to say hello to a new customer, you can use this one, and so on. Now, the general setup is going to be the same for all of these. So let's, for example, just go with this new blog post thing right here. I'm just going to select it. And this is how the email editor is going to look like. Right here, we do have all sorts of different elements. And if we're going to select any of these, the settings are going to show up on the right. And we can then change this by, for example, adding a link onto this, by adding an alternate text, as well as just changing the picture right here, and so on. Now, basically right here, we do have two different kind of tabs. One would be the content tab, where you can actually put in all of your different structures. So for example, we could add this structure right here, and we could then add different kind of blocks inside the structure. But we also do have the global settings tab right here. So if you do want to change the overall text font of this, if you do want to change the overall color of this, and so on, then you can do that inside of right here. You can change the headings, you can change the heading freeze, and so on. So overall, the general settings are going to be under global settings. But if you want to add content, like for example, let's say that you want to actually add a video onto this, as you can see, we can actually do this with this content tab right here, and we can then also add buttons onto this. If we would now want to customize this button, we would just have to select it, and then we would have to select where we actually want to redirect the person to that is going to click this button. So this can either be just site, mail, file, Skype, telephone, and so on, basically unlimited options. And then you can actually also change the overall button color of this. So if you, for example, do want to actually go for, I don't know, a green button, I guess, or let's go with something, I guess something bluish, something like this, then you can do that right here. You can then once again right here change the font for this exact button, and so on. Now, that's basically it for the email editor. You could obviously go way more in depth with this. So for example, if you would want to change your logo right here, you would then just have to click on change image, and then you would have to add a file onto this. Let me quickly demonstrate you this. And now we do have our logo on this email. Now, if you do have any questions about this email builder or just anything in general, you can leave them in the comments down below and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. However, if you find this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. Either way, for now we are actually going to opt out of this by clicking on next right here, and we can then actually select who we want to send this campaign to. So in our case, we will just have to basically select the recipient selection. So this could be just our list right here. And we could then actually also segment this list. So for example, we could right here add a new segment so that this is actually going to target specific types of contact. So right here we could then actually add all sorts of different conditions, and this will kind of work dynamically. So in a sense that this is automatically going to align contacts that actually do have these conditions. So for example, we could add a condition that we're only going to send this email to people that are going to submit a form or that has opened any emails in the last 30 days. We can then add another conditions. We can change this to and or. Basically, this is super powerful and you can just customize and target everything in detail right here. So I'm just going to select done right here so that this is actually only going to send out to people that have actually clicked on any of our emails in the past 30 days. We can then actually also schedule this right here. So we would just have to click on schedule if we do want to send this in the future, and we could then just save this. So let's just say that we are going to send this in a week. I'm just going to click on save, and we will then also have to select the tracking and automation settings for this. So we can first of all select open and read tracking. This is going to track when a contact opens this email. I would recommend you to do this. And then we can actually also select if someone is going to reply to this email. To do this, you will just have to click on to continue right here. And then this is also going to be tracked. And you can actually also integrate Google Analytics onto this to get in-depth insights into various tracking metrics if you want to. Either way, before you can continue, you will actually have to add an address that is going to be displayed on all of your emails. This is required by international anti-spam laws, so you will have to add something right here. In my case, I'm just going to put in an example address. But for you, this actually has to be an actual address. I would actually recommend you to only use your business address for this and not your personal address, as otherwise everyone can see where you live essentially. So I'm just going to click on save right here, and then the address is selected. We can actually select the campaign archive for this, and then we can just click on finish right here on the top right. And now this campaign successfully has been scheduled. Let me now show you how to use the automations with an ActiveCampaign, and this is by far the most powerful feature, so please listen tightly. Now, to actually access the automations, just click on automations right here, and then we can actually get started creating our first automation. Now, ActiveCampaign by default is going to offer you tons of different kind of templates that you can use, and this is super powerful because one thing with ActiveCampaign which I didn't yet mention is that you can actually integrate ActiveCampaign with quite a lot of tools. So if you, for example, do have your shop set up on Shopify, you could then integrate Shopify. We're then going to get tons of different templates for our Shopify store to actually boost our sales. So this, for example, would be stuff like product interest follow-up emails, email reminders to repurchase, as well as automated birthday and anniversary coupon emails, and so on. So overall, super powerful stuff. And you're also going to get templates in different languages, which I don't know why this is super over the top. However, still you can actually get some templates in German, as well as some in Italian, Spanish, French, as well as Portuguese. Now, as for this video, I'm just going to click on all recipes, and then I'm going to, click on, let's just select upgrade incentive and outreach. Then I'm going to click on continue. And now this is going to open up the automation map. Now the automation map can be a little bit overwhelming to get started with, so let me quickly demonstrate you how it works. So as we've actually selected a template, we would just have to click on get started right here, and then we would have to go through all of the different steps. We would have to basically just go through this, and then this is automatically going to be set up, which is super useful. However, I think it is actually pretty important that you are also going to actually understand how this works to actually build up your own automations. So let me quickly demonstrate you this. First of all, you do have your trigger for your automation. In this case, this would be if a tag is interested in a product, okay? And then this automation is going to be triggered. You can also add a new trigger right here. Now, actually, let me demonstrate you this a little bit better, and let's actually get started creating a new automation from scratch. So I'm just going to click on create an automation, click on start from scratch, and now we are going to get started from scratch to give you, I guess, a better idea on how this works. So first of all, select a trigger. You are going to have tons of different categories and tons of different things that you can actually trigger. However, to keep it simple, I'm just going to say that all trigger would be that when a subscriber is actually going to subscribe to a list. Now, you can actually also select opens and reads email, web page is visited, event is recorded, and so on. This is super advanced and super powerful. However, let's actually just select subscribed to a list, and then we're going to select the master contact list. And like this automation is going to be triggered whenever someone is going to subscribe to our email newsletter list, okay? And then as for the action, we do have tons of different actions. The sending options would be send email, send site message, send an SMS, as well as send a transactional email using postmark. You can actually also send a one-to-one email through a connected email account. However, you can actually also add other actions right here. This would be stuff like conditions and workflows, contact, CRM, Salesforce, and CX apps. So as you can see, you are going to have tons of different integrations right here, which you can then automatically reference inside your automations, which once again is super powerful. So actually, to keep it simple, we are just going to select send an email right here, and let's just say that we are going to add a plain welcome email onto this, as this would be the first email that someone is going to receive. So we could then just select start with a template, and we would then have to go ahead and actually design this email. So I'm just going to select email designer right here, and then I'm going to click on, I don't know, this one. I'm going to select a random email subject. And then we would have to change this to, I don't know, thank you for subscribing, okay? Then just click on next, click on finish, and then your email actually is added onto the workflow. And now we will actually have to select when we want to send this email. So we can either send it immediately, which in this case actually does make sense as this is a welcome email, or we can actually also send this with predictive sending, which is AI powered. And this basically just utilizes machine learning to send emails when a contact is most likely to open them, which is super powerful. However, as this would be a welcome email, I won't need this. So I'm going to click on save right here, and then we would have to now add a new actions onto this. Now, as we actually don't want to spam all of our contacts, most of the time you actually do want to add a wait condition right here. So we can actually select that we want to add for a wait for, I don't know, 2 days. And then we can actually say, okay, if, let's add a if and else statement, if, and then let's go to actions, and let's go to has opened, and then let's go to campaign, and let's select the welcome email that we have just made. So if this person has opened the campaign in the last 30 days. Now, this doesn't actually make sense, so I'm just going to select ever. So if the person has opened the campaign, welcome, save, we are going to have 2 different paths. If yes, we can then continue sending them new emails and so on. We can then actually split this. So if we do want to actually test which email is going to perform better, we could then select even split right here. And we can then basically add a 50-50 split and test out different kind of email formats. And as for the no path, we could actually end this automation for this person, or we can actually directly unsubscribe them. Now, it does actually make sense to unsubscribe unengaged email subscribers because you don't want to use them. However, obviously, this would be a little quick. If they don't open one of your emails, normally you wouldn't want to unsubscribe them, okay? So I think this is pretty clear by now. However, once again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Let me now demonstrate you how the CRM features work. So head over to deals right here. Now within ActiveCampaign, this is actually super nice. You can create your pipeline right here and you can add a pipeline name onto this. So I'm just going to select test, and we will then have to select who you actually has access to this. So in my case, I'm just going to select all groups. We can select the default currency and the assignment method. So we could, for example, select round robin or round robin deal value. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click on add. And now inside this deals pipeline, we then can add different kind of deals. We can add a deal title. So let's just go with Wayne Enterprises, I don't know. And we can then add a deal value. Let's just say that Wayne Enterprises is really generous and is going to pay us 10,000 for, I don't know, video editing, okay? So I'm just going to put in video editing as the description. We can then select the deal owner, the stage. So in this case, we could say that this is already in contact, and we can then select the forecast close date. I'm just going to say that this would be, I don't know, Wednesday next week. The contact would be just the Bruce Wayne contact, which you can then see right here and which you can then select. And you can actually also add an account to this. This normally would be the company that this contact is associated with. So I'm just going to click on create, and then I'm going to click create this Wayne Enterprises account, and then we can actually select the account owner. So basically the person that is going to be responsible for this business. Then click on add deal, and now we do have our deal added. We can then actually also drag this around, and we can actually also drag these deals as won or deals as lost. Now we can also see a general funnel overview right here, as well as a calendar and so on. Now, if you do actually want to know if ActiveCampaign is the superior email marketing tool out there, then make sure to actually watch this video right here. Either way, make sure to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.